I'm here. I hope you guys are. Because it's morning here. And that's all I got. Wow. It's Wednesday. Yay. How you doing? I'm Brian, as you can see right there. And I'm a poet. Dogs. And welcome to the show, because this is what I do here. We do poetry. We turn it into music using artificial intelligence. So, yeah, that's what we do. And have dogs interrupt us. Really? They're just going to have to wait or pee in the floor. I don't know. We'll see. How's it going, my friends? The perils of live TV. Well, this is what I got this morning. I got 6 poems by 6 poets, 12 tracks, because the AI that I use spits out 2. So, yeah, we get to choose. We get to listen to both of them and choose. So, what are we going to do today? But before that, sure, like and subscribe, because, you know, that's what we're supposed to ask and say and stuff. Although, like I said, it's a Wednesday morning and I've already been up too long. Really, I have. Oh, this heat. All right. Let me share screen here, because that's what I'm going to do. I am just really prepared for this morning, aren't I? All right, so today's show is going to consist of these guys. Make sure that's on. All right. First one is our returning favorite, Langston Hughes. You know, he's the guy that gave us 50-50. We like this guy, mother to son. And then Siegfried Sassoon, our war poet, the hero. Then a new one, I think. I don't know. Maybe we've done this guy before. Jazz Fantasia. You know, because who doesn't love jazz? Well, I do. I like jazz. Then a new one, Sir John Bettelman, B-E-T-J-E, Bettel. Oh, no, you Brits out there are going to have to tell me how that's pronounced. Harrow on the Hill, because, you know, this is you can tell, Wembley there, you know, very British poem. And then, returning favorite, Sarah Teasdale. She's always good. And we're rounding it out with the Emerson himself, Ralph Waldo. Not the other Waldo where you try to find him, but the Ralph. His name is Ralph, man. Oh, if you know that, you know. All right. I'm going to stop sharing here. Sometimes you can share too much. We're just going to go ahead and get on with it, because the very first one, I don't know whether to be scared or not, but, you know, the 4 minute thing, we got several here that are 4 minute. 4 of them, and but the first one is 1 minute and 42 seconds long.
Well, son, I'll tell you, life for me ain't been no crystal stair. It's attacks in it, and splinters, and boards torn up, and places with no carpet on the floor. And bare, but all the time I've been a climbing on,
That did rock. Short, sweet, and to the point. All right. I'm not going to. Here. Let's just go ahead and play the other one so I can go check on my dog.
Well, son, I'll tell you, life for me ain't been no crystal stair. It's had tacks in it, and splinters, and boards torn up, and places with no carpet on the floor, bare. But all the time I've been climbing on and reaching landings and turning corners, and sometimes going in the dark where there ain't been no light. So boy, don't you turn back, don't you sit down on the steps, 'cause you find it's kinder hard. Don't you fall now, for I still going, honey, I still climbing, and life for me ain't been no crystal stair. With no carpet on the floor, bare. But all the time I spent climbing on and reaching landings and turning corners, and sometimes going in the dark where there ain't been no light. So boy, don't you turn back, don't you sit down on the steps, 'cause you find it kinder hard. Don't you fall now, for I still going, honey, I still climbing, and life for me ain't been no crystal stair.
Yes, good morning. How you doing? That was interesting, what little I heard of it, but with dogs and stuff. Good morning, good afternoon, Irish. How you doing? So you like two better? Maybe one needed to be longer. I don't know. It's too early in the morning. It's Wednesday, and it's going to be a long, hot day. Not only do I have school, but I have appointments afterwards. Not just my appointments, but I'm taking my friend to his appointments too. So it's 2 appointments. Yeah. Yay. No rest for the weary or the wicked or anybody really. All right. These are two of our 4-minuters. Well, 3 of our 4-minuters are like right in a row, like right now. So this one, the hero Siegfried Sassoon. 4-minute long one, number 1.
Jack fell as he'd have wished, the mother said, and folded up the letter that she'd read. The colonel writes so nicely, something broke in the tired voice that quavered to a choke. She half looked up, we mothers are so proud of our dead soldiers. Then her face was bowed. Quietly, the brother officer went out. He told the poor old dear some gallant lies that she would nourish all her days, no doubt. For while he coughed and mumbled, her weak eyes had shone with gentle triumph, brimmed with joy, because he'd been so brave, her glorious boy. He thought how Jack, cold-footed, useless swine, had panicked down the trench that night in mine. Went up in wicked corner, how he tried to get sent home, and how at last he died, blown to small bits, and no one seemed to care, except that lonely woman with white hair. He thought how Jack, cold-footed, useless swine, had panicked down the trench that night in mine. Went up the wicked corner, how he tried to get sent home, and how at last he died, blown to small bits, and no one seemed to care, except that lonely woman with white hair.
Interesting. Yes. Good morning, Hal. How you doing? It was okay. Yes, this one, but the subject. Oh my lord. Oh, talk about mommy issues, and stuff, and stuff in war and stuff and what's going on today and stuff. And I was in the military, but at heart I'm a pacifist. I believe in necessary violence to protect yourself from bullies, especially on the international stage. And when it's all there is bullies, then yeah. So you like that one? You like that one? I might need to Sabbath it up. I don't know. Let's just see what, especially considering it's a war poem. The very pessimistic war poem. They're just like, it finally cooled off. I'm jealous. We're still in a freaking heat advisory for the rest of the damn week. Ugh. That's climate change for you. Global warming, whatever the hell you want to call it. It's called the law of unintended consequences. Hey, Kathy. Hopefully you like this one.
Jack fell as he'd have wished, the mother said, and folded up the letter that she'd read. The colonel writes so nicely, something broke in the tired voice that quavered to a choke. She half looked up. We mothers are so proud of our dead soldiers. Then her face was bowed. Quietly the brother officer went out. He told the poor old dear some gallant lies, that she would nourish all her days, no doubt. For while he coughed and mumbled, her weak eyes had shone with gentle triumph, brim with joy, because he'd been so brave, her glorious boy. He thought how Jack, cold-footed, useless swine, had panicked down the trench that night, the mine. Went up in Wicked Corner, how he tried to get sent home, and how at last he died, blown to small bits, and no one seemed to care, except that lonely woman with white hair.
We got over a minute left.
He thought how Jack, cold-footed, useless swine, had panicked down the trench that night, the mine. Went up in Wicked Corner, how he tried to get sent home, and how at last he died, blown to small bits, and no one seemed to care, except that lonely woman with white hair.
Interesting. I just think I might Sabbath that one up. I don't know. Good morning, Kathy. How you doing? This song kind of reminds me also of Platoon, the movie Platoon. You know, I don't know if you've seen that, but the the guy played by Corey Glover, you know, the guy who turned out to be the singer for Living Color. He was in that movie. He was trying to get out of there, trying to get injured or wounded to get the hell out of there the entire movie. And he goes through the entire movie without getting a scratch. And after all the crap is over at the end, and he comes out of the fucking rubble, he still doesn't have a scratch, so he stabs himself. Dude, if I was in war and I could go through all those situations and not get hurt, I would be like, it's like plot armor. Oh Lord, it's a good movie. It's actually a pretty good movie. It is. For one view, I was only able to watch it like once all the way through, and that was a long time ago. But you can see how memorable some of that was. But that's what it reminded me of, and I just feel sorry for the mother, you know. And of course, it's Siegfried Sassoon was writing in World War II, where it wasn't really trenches. So I guess it takes place in World War One. Yeah. World War One. Cool. All right. Yeah, I read that analysis. All right, I want to get on with this stuff because, you know, Platoon, you know, Oliver Stone, starring Charlie Sheen and Willem Dafoe, amongst others. Great movie. He deserved best director for that movie. Good morning, Rogue. How are you doing? Hopefully you enjoy the show so far. It's been interesting. A lot of angst. A lot of angst. Kind of like I said, most of the time, my shows make themselves. So this one's about jazz. And this is the third of our 4-minuters. So this one's about jazz. Jazz Fantasia.
Drum on your drums, on your banjos.
Oh, I love it.
Sob on the long, cool, winding saxophones. Go to it, oh Jasmine. Sling your knuckles on the bottoms of the happy tin pans. Let your trombones ooze and go hush, hush, hush with the slippery sandpaper. Moan like an autumn wind high in the lonesome treetops. Moan soft like you wanted somebody terrible. Cry like a racing car slipping away from a motorcycle cop. Bang, bang, you Jasmine. Bang all together drums. Traps, banjos, horns, tin cans make two people fight on the top of a stairway and scratch each other's eyes in a clinch tumbling down the stairs. Can the rough stuff now? A Mississippi steamboat pushes up the night river with a hoo-hoo-hoo, and the green lanterns calling to the high soft stars. A red moon rides on the humps of the low river hills. Go to it, oh Jasmine. Moan like an autumn wind high in the lonesome treetops. Like you want up the Night River with a hoo-hoo-hoo, and the green lanterns calling to the high, soft stars. A red moon rides on the humps of the low river hills. Go to it, oh Jasmine and oh dear.
Now that was just freaking cool. That's why we do this, just for stuff like that. That was not nowhere even near jazz. That was the country stuff. Yes, here, let me go here. Oh, yes. All right. Yes, Platoon was awesome. I was like 13 when it came out. 13, 12, 13. So we're about the same age. Yes, real country bluegrass. Yes, love the whimsical nature of that one. And the lyrics are also old-fashioned, yes. And then there, and I didn't see Kia. Are we having a case of mistaken identity, Kia? If you're here, hi. And of course, yes, they are indigo. All right, so mistaken identity, clap, clap. And I'm almost done with my coffee, and I got like halfway through with my biscuit before my dog tried to eat it. So now I had to put it up. All right, so look, that was cool. I'm almost don't want to play the next one, but you know we gotta. Jazz Fantasia by Carl Sandburg. Get a little note on this one if you click on the link. It says it features a lot of rhythmic language and onomatopoeia, captures lively, passionate, very musical. It translated out for something that didn't have, you know, rhyme per se. It translated out pretty good, and it's all about the Harlem Renaissance, you know, jazz. Sounded to me like it was freaking country on a riverboat.
Drum on your drums, batter on your banjos, sob on the long, cool, winding saxophones. Go to it, oh Jasmine. Sling your knuckles on the bottoms of the happy tin pans. Let your trombones loose and go hush-a, hush-a, hush with the slippery sandpaper. Moan like an autumn wind high in the lonesome treetops. Moan soft like you wanted somebody terrible. Cry, ride like a racing car slipping away from a motorcycle cop. Bang, bang, you Jasmine, bang all together. Drums, traps, banjos, horns, tin cans make two people fight on the top of a stairway and scratch each other's eyes in a clinch tumbling down the stairs. Can the rough stuff now a Mississippi steamboat pushes up the Night River with a hoo-hoo-hoo, and the green lanterns calling to the high soft stars. A red moon rides on the humps of the low river hills. Go to it, old Jasmine.
supposed to do that. All right. All right. Both of those are cool. Yes. All right. Now, are you a secret Michelin starred chef? Because that sounds like, very expensive jalapeno infused tuna pasta veg and grated vintage cheddar. You got the infused and the grated vintage. Anything vintage cheddar on it, you expect you're going to be spending some money on it in a really elegant restaurant. Very smooth. But yeah, I actually agree with you. One's a little better. But what about just doing it jazz? Because this is one of those. I'm gonna have to redo second one, run it through 4.5. Doing a little cover just to see with that, but it's like the house at the side of the road. Play either version. And the fact that it's about jazz, but they countryed it up. Yeah, the whimsical nature of it. All right. Where are we at now? Oh, we're at the mid part of the show when I'm supposed to remind people that, everything we do here is done under fair use and stuff like that, and, in the public domain. And I think it's pretty cool. And if you do too, make sure you like and subscribe and all that jazz, because we're down to 450. And I'm at this rate, I'm not going to get my watch hours until after the second coming. Thief. Now I'm hungry. Well, I am a fat boy, so a fat boy stoner. So, all right, this version. Okay, here, where are we at? Here we are at, the British guy, Harrow on the Hill, by the Sir John Betta something or other. Here we go.
When melancholy autumn comes to Wembley and electric trains are lighted after tea, the poplars near the stadium are trembling with their tap and whispering to me, like the sound of little breakers spreading out along the surf line when the estuary's filling with the sea. Then Harrow on the Hill's a rocky island, and Harrow churchyard full of sailors' graves, and the constant click and kissing of the trolley buses hissing is the level of the wheeled stone turned to waves, and the rumble of the railway is the thunder of the rollers as they gather for the plunging into caves. There's a storm cloud to the westward over Kenton. There's a line of harbour lights at Perivale. Is it rounding rough Pentyre in a flood of sunset fire, the little fleet of trawlers under sail? Can those boats be only rooftops as they stream along the skyline in a race for port and pat stew with the gale?
That was lovely. Yes, very pretty. That could also work for my fake bluegrass band. How's it going, Tiff? Thank thank you for joining us here. You're making an effort. Yes, we all got the. Yes, definitely love the gentleness of that one. That one's a good one. Let's see here. Hey, Tiff. Hey, Tiff. All right, let's go ahead and play the second one. All right, Harrow on the Hill. This one's a little bit longer. That one was only 2 minutes and 26 seconds. This one is a little over 3 minutes.
When men call the autumn comes to Wembley, and electric trains are lighted after tea, the poplars near the stadium are trembling with their tap and whispering to me, like the sound of little breakers spreading out along the surf line when the estuary's filling with the sea. Then Harrow on the Hill's a rocky island, and Harrow churchyard full of sailors' graves, and the constant click and kissing of the trolley buses hissing is the level of the wheeled stone turned to waves, and the rumble of the railway is the thunder of the rollers as they gather for the plunging into caves. There's a storm cloud to the westward over Kenton. There's a line of harbor lights at Peralee. Is it rounding rough Pentyre in a flood of sunset fire? The little fleet of trawlers under sail. Can those boats be only rooftops as they stream along the skyline in a race for port and Padstow with the gale? Cloud to the westward over Kenton. There's a line of harbor lights at Perivale. Is it rounding rough Pentyre in a flood of sunset fire? The little fleet of trawlers under sail. Can those boats be only rooftops as they stream along the skyline in a race for port and Padstow with the gale? With the gale, with the gale.
Yeah, definitely one was a better interpretation, better expression, you know, because it's like you're going through these scenes. It says here, it depicts the imaginative transformation of the suburban landscape of Harrow on the Hill into a maritime scene during the arrival of autumn. And you can kind of follow along in that transformation along with it. And yeah. Yep. Pizza has spoken. Okay. All right. So we're on for our next one here. So you're definitely, somebody's going to hear again. All right. Here is our next one here. I thought of you. Okay, here. Sarah Teasdale. We love her. She always comes up with good stuff.
Around me were the echoing dunes, beyond me the cold and sparkling silver of the sea. We too will pass through death and ages lengthen before you hear that sound again with me. Around me were the echoing dunes, beyond me the cold and sparkling silver of the sea. We too will pass through death and ages lengthen before you hear that sound again with me. With me. When all you and how you love this beauty, and walking up the long beach all alone, I heard the waves breaking in measured thunder, as you and I once heard their monotone. I thought of you and how you love this beauty, and walking up the long beach all alone, I heard the waves breaking in measured thunder, as you and I once heard their monotone. Around me, wind monotone. Around me, wind monotone.
Yeah, nice Dave. Interesting. That's my word. No, yeah, it was interesting. Although I'm thinking, because Sarah Teasdale got that one song called, or the one called Roundel. Maybe, I don't know. We'll have to see, because if I can surf that one up and make it, because I don't know. With her stuff, I kind of want the narrator to be female. Or the singer. Let's just see what this one's has in store for us. So version 2.
I thought of you and how you love this beauty, and walking up the long beach all alone, I heard the waves breaking in measured thunder, as you and I once heard their monotone. Around me were the echoing dunes, beyond me the cold and sparkling silver of the sea. We too will pass through death and ages lengthen before you hear that sound again with me. Around me were the echoing dunes, beyond me the cold and sparkling silver of the sea. We too will pass through death and ages lengthen before you hear that sound again with me. Around me were the echoing dunes, beyond me the cold and sparkling silver of the sea. We too will pass through death and ages lengthen before you hear that sound again with me.
the cold and sparkling silver of the sea. We too will pass through death, and ages lengthen before you hear that sound again with me.
Slept till 5ish, till about 1 p.m. So do the math. That's 7 hours. That's pretty good. That's actually pretty good. Sometimes I wish I could get 7 hours straight. I don't know. I'm up all the time. Now, I like For My Rhyme of the Ancient Mariner, which you can see on my, I got the whole thing on there. I have a whole fucking movie. It's like an hour and a half long. I know they've got the AI crap out there that can do it, but I would actually like to get with a actual real life animator. Whether they use that stuff to do their, I don't know, but I'd like to talk to a person about, like, for example, for my fake bluegrass band I'm thinking about starting. I've got ideas for videos for the songs and stuff. Yeah. We're knackered. Oh, right. That's still pretty good. All right, I forgot where I was going with this. And we're on the last track. And then I got to go to school. So, our very last one, The Bell. This is our last 4-minute of the day, too. So, here we go. It's exciting, the possibilities. You just got to figure out the right tools to use.
I love thine iron chime, to life or death, to heaven or hell, which calls the sons of time. Thy voice upon the deep, the homebound sea boy hails. It charms his cares to sleep. It cheers him as he sails to house of God and heavenly joys. Thy summons called our sighs, and good men thought thy sacred voice disarmed the thunder's fires.
its notes once more and mix my requiem with the wind that sweeps my native shore.
And it cuts us off. That was cool. I'm going to have to redo that one. But yeah, that freaking saxophone solo was worth it. Great interpretation. I like it. All right, we got to get up here and we have to address this. Rick Astley, yeah, he's probably a wonderful performer. Natalie Imbruglia, Roger Daltrey. You know, I like the Who are one of my my favorite bands of all time. I don't know who Mel C is, and Clueless the musical is I'm clueless about who was in that, but I love the movie. Jules Holland, I know who that is. I didn't know that he sung. That was interesting. So yes. And good morning, Amy M. Thanks for stopping by. You got here. Yes, just like the ex-girlfriend. I'm glad it's catching on. Ex-girlfriends, they're pretty cool until they cut you off. I'm glad you remembered that. All right. I am just going to have to go ahead and end this one here because I got stuff I got to go do. So if you like everything, Spice Girls, Sporty Spice, Melty, but I am so freaking jealous. And those two there's only two of them left and they're way too old. I don't know. I love the Who. That's the operative word. Was it when they were still a force before Keith Moon or after? Oh, because he did himself in, and then John Entwistle. I don't know whether to be envious or because he was stupid because he died of a heart attack by overdosing on cocaine and with two prostitutes. Yeah, he was having fun when he croaked. At least that kind of fun. Poor guy. Well, not poor guy, but yeah, he was way too good of a bass player to go like that. That is awesome. All right. I'm just going to go ahead and do this here. I hope y'all have an awesome day and all that stuff. That was before Entwistle did himself in, so cool. Yeah. There are certain ways to go. Oh, but this is a family-friendly program, so I'm going to go ahead and hopefully this one doesn't suck. If it sucks, I'll play another one on the way out. All right. The Bell. Ralph Waldo Emerson version 2.
I love thy music, mellow bell. I love thine iron shine. To life or death, to heaven or hell, which calls the sons of time. Thy voice upon the deep, the homebound sea boy hails. It charms his cares to sleep. It cheers him as he sails to house of God and heavenly joys. summons called out our sires, and good men thought thy sacred voice disarmed the thunder's fires. And soon thy music's sad death bell shall lift its notes once more, and mix my requiem with the wind that sweeps my native shore. House of God and heavenly joys, thy summons called out our sires, and good men thought thy sacred voice disarmed the thunder's fires. And soon thy music's sad deathbed bell shall lift its notes once more, and mix my requiem with the wind that sweeps my native shore.
Okie dokie. Smashing Pumpkins at Lollapalooza and the DCs. Yay. Actually, I'm jealous. All right, we'll have to talk about shows and stuff. Shiny wigs. Cool. Never seen Depeche Mode. Ariana Grande, yeah. All right. Have a fab day, y'all guys. And we're going to play one more to keep us going, to get us going here, because that was way too somber to end the show with. Yes. Definitely have to rework number 1, though, because, you know, it was really cool. But we're going to end the show on this one. Yay!
He sleeps on the top of a mast with his eyes fast closed. The sails fall away below him like the sheets of his bed, leaving out in the air of the night the sleeper's head. Asleep he was transported there, asleep he curled in a gilded ball on the mast top, or climbed inside a gilded bird, or blindly seated himself astride. I am founded on marble pillars, said a cloud I never moved. See the pillars there in the sea, secure in introspection, he peers at the watery pillars of his reflection. A gull had wings under his, and remarked that the air was like marble. He set up
one of the reasons I wanted to play this song was because I saw my buddy down at the store this morning when I went to go get breakfast, and he's a big Van Halen fan, and that song came into my head because it always reminds me of Sammy Hagar. It's got that Montrose to I Can't Drive 55 era Sammy Hagar plus a little bit of Robert Palmer's Doctor, that type of really cool rock in it. So yeah, I could see a freaking middle-aged Sammy Hagar wearing type hair with a bandana dude with his push mower. Awesome. We'll have to figure it out, man. In the meantime, y'all have a good one. And I'm going to go to school and stuff, and I'll see you in the morning. Bye. Oh, yeah.